Hey guys, welcome to Going Nowhere podcast. My name is Mark.
And I'm... what? Hello and welcome to the Going Nowhere podcast. We're your hosts,
Mark.
Johnny,
Sheldon.
and we're going to be talking about Walking Dead and Game of Thrones.
Do we have to?
We can. We've alluded to it so many times in previous episodes, I feel like we should maybe go a little more in depth, talk about what we like about the show, and we can talk about how they're both adaptations of book and comic.
We hate it. We're moving on to the next topic.
Yeah,
so,
it's, right. It's fucking garbage. All right.
That was
quick.
Really conclusive.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think I like Walking Dead more than the both of you, but I agree that there are a lot of episodes that are just shit.
Do you like The Walking Dead more than you like both of us?
I understand.
Yes.
Or do you like it more than we like it?
Both.
Yeah.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
No, all of column A and all of column B. Just the whole thing. All right. No, it definitely has its faults. There's a lot of episodes where nothing happens.
It's called the show.
It's called The Walking Dead.
No. There are good episodes.
There are good episodes.
They're just few and far between.
There are good moments. Good moments.
Good
and
episodes.
a few good episodes.
And
Most of the premieres and finales are typically quite good.
Yeah, for other shows.
Literally any other
You know what?
show.
I'm just gonna give up defending this show.
You can, but it's funnier to bash your opinions.
Excuse me while I watch any American Horror Story.
Oh, don't get going on that.
Well, we'll talk about that intro in a bit.
So, I watched The Walking Dead Season 1. I thought it was pretty enjoyable. It was interesting watching them, try to survive this new thing. And then
they get to the
Season
farm?
2, they sit at the farm. And then I got bored of shit and nothing
Okay, well, nobody
happened.
likes Season 2.
And then Season 2, they left, fine, and they go to the prison, and they sit at the prison for days. And then they leave the prison, and they go chill with the governor for days. And now they go to Alexandria, and they chill in
No, in between there was
I don't care.
That long string of episodes where they broke up the characters. That was the worst part for me.
So, my issue with The Walking Dead is because the writers, have good moments, but they're like, oh shit, let's make an entire season.
Oh, yeah, they pad the shit out of it.
So, my issue with it is that everyone slowly talks. If you listen to any of the dialogue in that show, they'll be like, you did what?
Yeah, the reactions
With
just...
the thing?
Reactions just take forever.
Yeah, it takes forever. Dialogue scenes last way longer than they should.
I think
because
that's
it's
what
not
really
a
wrecks
natural...
it, is anytime they have the long, drawn-out dialogue that just... It doesn't need to be like that.
Yeah, and if you also throw in a shit ton of characters, you can draw out episodes by cutting to different characters, so, the story doesn't really progress. And then when those characters move away, and it's, one or two characters, and then you have a sole episode on that, the story never really progresses because you're just concentrating on two characters instead of the group, right? But when you concentrate on the group, you're flipping back by through so many characters that it doesn't really go anywhere anyway. Except for, the big moments where, the governor shows up with...
The governor.
The governor.
The governor.
The governor?
Yeah, the governor rolls in with his tank.
You broke Johnny.
The governor rolls in with his tank.
That's how I fix things.
Poorly.
What verb are you using?
Governor, dumbass. Keep up. It's not that tough.
Do I need to pull out a dictionary, Johnny?
Maybe. I'm a little lost on that one.
But you know what picture they have in the dictionary next to the word idiot, Johnny?
Governor?
No picture, you dipshit. It's a dictionary.
It's
It is you. My favorite moment in all of The Walking Dead, I'm not sure what season it is, I apologize in advance. I'm sure one fan will know. They have my favorite supporting character, and it's not Beth, although I would like more of Beth's spin-off episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe in the series.
Is it Noah?
Song.
Is it
No.
Dale?
No, it's the sign. It's the sign. They focus on the sign for a good 2 minutes straight while nothing fucking happens. They don't do any camera tricks. They don't zoom in. They
I
don't zoom
remember
out.
that one. That one was really bad.
And
You're just sitting there like,
I don't
okay.
remember that at all.
It was season 4, 3 or something. I don't know. It was just trying to be artsy, I guess. But it was literally filler of like 3 minutes of camera on sign.
And I think they like contract different like musicians and stuff like that to like press their like music, and like they have like these like long ass music videos in the episodes of just like characters thinking and pondering. But that's the entire fucking Walking Dead series, is them like, well, except for when shit actually happens once in a while, like they're just sitting around being like, these sucks.
Maybe Tarantino directs a bunch of the episodes.
He doesn't.
No.
But they're equally bad.
That would certainly explain a lot. But
there are some really good
It'd
episodes.
be a little bit better.
Though.
yeah, they're like I said, the finales are always very good. There was one season premiere when they're taken in by the cannibals. That season premiere was very good. It was action oriented.
And then it like completely fucking
Died off.
Then it got slow for the rest of the season. I think the second half or something. Since they've gotten Alexandria, it's been pretty good. I think there's the odd episode that was really bad.
The one episode that I really, really liked, where what's his face in the revolving door.
Yeah, Noah, and then
And
they go on that
Glenn.
run with Glenn and that douchebag.
That episode, I just happened to watch a one-off. It was really, really good. I enjoyed
That
it.
whole episode
And
was
then
solid.
the next episode, nothing happened.
Well, there's that like one episode where Rick like rips the guy's face off with his teeth.
As he does.
Oh, he bites out his neck. I guess.
Yeah. That was cool. I liked Rick's progression to being a badass. Is it like that now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Because Farmer Rick was annoying as fuck.
Oh yeah, no, he's still just
Like,
kind of a badass
what?
doing.
Oh wait, you were at a
Random
farm
badass
and you
things.
weren't Farmer Rick, but then you went to a prison and then became Farmer Rick? Like, go fuck. Enough with farms, alright? If I wanted to watch farms, I'd watch Farmville on my Facebook page.
Every episode is just the same beat. It's Rick going, "We need to survive. This is a democracy /
There's
dictatorship."
people like not agreeing with him.
But then him being
This
like,
isn't
"No."
a democracy anymore.
And then it goes back to being a democracy.
This is a democracy.
Yeah,
Like,
we vote.
And then Michonne's all like, "Yo, bitch, I'm gonna go kill some zombies. I'm cool." And then Carl's like, not in the house. And Abraham's
He's
like,
all
"Can we go to
"Jiggy
Washington?"
Jar Jar, dude.
Dirty dirt.
Oh,
Oh, that video is great.
That's great's a word.
Oh, come on, admit it was stuck in your
And
head
then
for days.
Carol's like, "I can be cool sometimes, but I'm going to not be." And Glenn's like, "Look at me, I'm almost going to die."
And Daryl's just like possum.
Eating out on porches. And then Abraham's like, "Can we go to Washington now?"
Is Tyrese still alive?
Yeah, but he's with Abraham going to Washington.
My favorite Tyrese moment was the hammer in the swarm of zombies. Like, so slow, one at a time, somehow makes it out.
Yeah, no, that, like...
The headshots are ridiculous. At least make them miss once in a while to give tension.
What about the one where they fire a golf ball?
Oh,
They-
God.
I think-
And it hits the zombie.
I think,
That's so
I
dumb.
think another problem that I have with that show is it's supposed to show how, like, humans are, like, worse than zombies, right? Like,
Well, that's
usually
all
what,
of
like, all zombies
zombies, yeah.
are,
They're
right?
supposed to be the bigger threat.
But,
right?
like, they never really, like, other than the governor, they never really had that, like, staple, like,
Well, they
threat,
will.
right?
With the
I know,
new one.
I know they will.
Negan.
there was
right?
that time where Rick shot those couple guys they had just met because he didn't
Was
want to
that
trust anybody.
In the bar or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the bar.
And
yeah.
then there was also, like, the introduction to the guys who were in the prison when they first got to the prison.
Oh,
Yeah.
the black guys that they killed off.
The ones that all ended up dying.
They literally all died in, like, the first 2 episodes.
No. Couple died at the finale
No.
during the
They-
prison.
You know what I was
So
really
they
excited for?
Cannon fodder.
If we were talking about comic book adaptations to TV show,
Right.
the
I was getting there.
the point where the 2 girls get brought to, like, the barber shop in the prison and that guy decapitates them.
That's it. Yeah, from the
Yeah.
comics. That,
And I thought there was going to be, like, a little bit of that with the prisoners, but the prisoners just ended up being fucking
they
assholes.
cut out a lot of
Who
dark
didn't
stuff
do
from the
anything.
comics because originally the governor like rapes Michonne and then she like I don't know bolts his testicles into the floor and like chops off his arm and takes a spoon and shovels out his eye. Like it's really dark shit.
That sounds like a party.
Yeah, and you know what does she do in the show? Like I don't know, cuts his finger off.
That'll show him.
I don't know.
No, she still hurt his eye because he got the eye patch, right?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't as brutal. They cut a lot of that stuff.
And like because they like their character development and and dialogue isn't that great. So like they'll have like character specific episodes where they like kind of look back at the past of their, which is fine.
But they're the same character.
But they're all the exact same fucking thing.
No
Like
one's
something
evolved.
bad happened to them. Like
Look how we came together
yeah,
as a group.
exactly.
Tyranny and then democracy.
The Michonne one I remember kind of pissed me off because it was just like flashbacks, but like while things were happening.
Right.
So you were always like, what the fuck?
Her flashbacks were just like so slow paced.
Yeah, well, that whole fucking show.
But I like it as an adaptation because the storyline is direct from the comic, but they take liberties as far as characters and the deaths, so that it has its own element of suspense. But at the same time, it parallels the comics, where I can look forward to certain moments in the comics and see how they portray them on the TV show.
Like the season finale of this current one, from what I gather, because you told me what happens next, it's going to be very interesting, and some people aren't going to be so handy. From what I gather.
Oh,
we'll see
I
what
know about that. If you're talking about hands,
When they're holding hands, walking out into the crowd,
and then things happen.
Yeah, in the comic it goes south pretty quick.
Yeah. But they really left off on a shitty note. That last episode
I can't
sucked.
believe they ended it like that.
Like, it gets to a cliffhanger, but anyone who's never read the books, or doesn't know what's going to happen, is going to be like, oh, that's boring.
Yeah.
Nothing, like,
Oh,
there's no
Deanna
tension.
dies. No, not her.
our favorite character.
really? I don't know any character.
But you don't
anymore.
care, do you?
I stopped.
Exactly.
I literally stopped watching it like the second
Before they got
episode
to
of
Alexandria?
season 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they killed off Daryl, which they can, it's their right to do you think it would kill the show?
Absolutely.
Like,
Not necessarily. Depends how they were going forward. I think Daryl definitely holds the show together just because he's the strongest character that they introduced. In fact, I remember reading that he was originally auditioning for the role of Merle, Norman Reedus, and they didn't want to cast him, but he did such a good job that they wrote the part of Merle's brother in just for the actor.
Yeah.
Just for Norman Reedus.
And then, like, obviously, fan reaction got him to where he is now.
Oh, clearly that was the best choice they made early on. But
and to make him such an integral part of the story at this point. And
but
way more interesting than anyone else.
Like, now that they've gotten, like, the core characters, like, the absolute core.
They picked up Michonne, essentially.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Well, it's like Glenn.
Yeah. Carl,
Rick,
Michonne,
Carol, and Daryl. And Abraham.
Well, I would say
No, Abraham's
Carol
gonna
is
die.
still like expendable. I don't think anyone
But
really.
Carol's been there since episode 1. I would say the real core of the group is going to be Daryl,
And I don't think they'll ever
Coral,
and
Carol.
Lori.
No. Well, to be fair, Carl kind of did a good job in solving that problem. That's the best thing I can say about Coral. He killed his mom. Coral, get in the house.
So, as an adaptation, if we compare it to Game of Thrones, how do you guys think Game of Thrones has done adapting from the novels?
Pretty good.
I never read the books.
I have.
Yeah, I've started to read them, but just based on what I've heard on the internet, because people are constantly comparing it, right?
Well, it's interesting because when you watch The Walking Dead, comic book fans are going, okay, well, how are they going to connect this plot eventually to, like, the show, right?
Yeah.
And, like, once in a while, they'll, like, go back to, like, moments of the comics and, like, characters from the comics. But now that Game of Thrones has outdone, like, the books, and, like, now whatever's coming up next.
Past its
Yeah, exactly. Now people, like, everyone's kind of in the dark, right? Which is kind of cool.
It's the first time that's ever happened, I think.
Because when you started off, you were trying to be like, oh, I wonder how they're gonna do with the adapting it. But now that it's like completely like you started the series knowing with the books and like kind of comparing those, and now it's just like
All
brand
mystery.
new, all new territory.
They certainly take their own liberties as well. Not so much as far as the fates of the characters, but where they are and who they're interacting with seems to change up a bit.
And they're forced to cut out a lot of the minor characters because you just can't dedicate that amount of screen time to one-off characters that appear in the books.
Yeah, and I think they do a pretty good job of
Getting to the point.
Because
yeah,
there's
definitely.
there's a point in the book where Bran has a lot more of a plot, like the kid.
They cover like the essential elements though. Like
Okay.
everything that you need, they cover.
Yeah, they do a good adapting, I guess.
Yeah, they get the point across.
My issue with Game of Thrones has always been that everything has been spoiled for me, and I know it's like I have the bone of the show, like I know exactly what happens, and that's why I haven't really been like excited to catch up on it. It's just like I have other shows that I don't know anything about,
But
that haven't been spoiled.
I think it's worth seeing for the way they present it in a dramatic way. I think the last season was fantastic. The big moments they had, particularly
Battle
leading
of
up
the
to
Wall.
the finale, what happened with Cersei and
Shane.
Jon Snow. But
yeah.
I think it's worth watching for the drama because it is a very good show.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, there's so much meat to that show. Like that. Like, even if you get the plot points, like just the way they go about it is so like enriching, or like, you know what I mean. No?
Use the words.
I can't speak.
It does a very good job of presenting the drama, right? They do a good job of building tension and kind of getting that character development without doing it the Walking Dead way, where they just have a whole episode of nothing
What
but talking.
is really interesting about Game of Thrones, by comparison, is that characters don't have plot armor for the most part. So people that you think, oh man, those guys are safe. Ned Stark. Spoiler: Sean Bean dies. Shock and awe. I know. Take a seat. But Walking Dead, Rick's never gonna die.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I brought
Coral's
up
never gonna
that's why I
die.
brought up that core group. I think Carol will probably die, because I don't think like. But if you really think about it, Carl, Michonne, Rick, and Daryl won't ever die.
But Walking Dead has taken more liberties as an adaptation than Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones, the deaths have all been the same. Walking Dead, they have changed it up because Andrea's still alive in the comics, and I think other characters died at different times.
Okay, not Daryl. Dale.
Yeah,
Dale died in season 2, and Dale was in
He
it
stuck
for
around
quite
for
while.
a bit longer.
Yeah.
In the comic, yeah, for
because
sure.
he was banging Andrea. For
Yeah,
reason to live.
yeah. But
Yeah.
So I think that's why Walking Dead, they have some plot armor for their staple characters, but I think that's because they're worried about fan backlash. I hope they do something that ballsy and kill off one of those
they
main
teased
core.
it with like Glenn this season, didn't they?
Oh,
Yes.
But you knew he
Oh.
fucking survived.
You knew that plot armor would save him.
They wanted that kind of response, though. And
That's
they got
gonna
it.
prepare them for what happens next season.
Yeah,
It's gonna,
they may have been.
season finale.
Yeah, they may have been.
I know it's gonna
testing
happen.
it
I'm
already.
really excited about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Is that
Yeah,
his name?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan
As Negan.
yeah.
That'll be good.
Comedian. He's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
I have the Walking Dead like opening theme just stuck in my head all the time.
It's catchy. I think we can agree that both of those shows have a very strong opening theme.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, like there's been metal covers of both.
Oh yeah, of course.
They've been fucking great.
Yeah, I think they're pretty strong for sure.
There's been
They should switch the metal covers
into the show.
Yeah, it'd be badass, like X-Men.
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 The animated
X-Men.
X-Men TV show
Yeah.
from the 90s.
Or like any 90s show that had like badass guitar solos to them.
Like all of them, like Power Rangers had like such a sick song.
crazy guitar, but yeah, there were a lot of good intros back then. I feel like TV show intros have changed a lot. They used to have a lot of dialogue-driven intros too, I think.
There was a lot of extreme, especially for like kids. So you had like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and
like ADD music.
Yeah,
The kids
to
were
let you
just
know,
like, yeah.
Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z.
Pokemon.
I guess
Digimon, Digital Monsters,
kids
Digimon.
shows for the most part are probably still pretty much the same.
I mean, but you have things like Avatar, which is
Exposition.
it's exposition, but done, I think, in a classy way that
Like Kenny
makes
versus
sense.
Penny.
Kenny versus Penny.
Two best friends battle against each other.
That was a
Glory
good
for the
intro,
winner.
the way they presented different kinds
Yeah,
of
you knew
battles.
exactly
What you were gonna get.
what you were gonna get because it literally was just them fighting each other.
In various ways.
Another intro that did a good job of presenting exposition was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, in that rap song.
And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
everyone knows that rap song.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah.
and they know exactly what the
Something,
plot
something,
of the
something,
show
something,
is.
something, copyright infringement.
My life
Yeah, the rap.
turned upside whatever.
Infringement.
He takes a cab somewhere.
I don't. Probably not to Bel Air. That'd be stupid.
Dun, dun, dun.
No.
I just want to point out though, my personal favorite of recent intros to TV shows. I have my all-time favorite, which I'll discuss in a bit. But my personal favorite for recent, definitely Too Many Cooks. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's a really
That's
really
not
catchy.
an intro. That's
Too many cooks.
that's a chore.
Too many cooks. Hey, just because the intro is like 10.5 minutes long,
We've shown that to too many friends.
and they hate us all
Guys,
now.
I think my stew's ready. It does take some time to make a stew.
Too many cooks. God, don't. But do. Definitely do. Ugh.
Oh god. Okay, so we're talking about great music and like exposition and intros. You were saying, or I remember talking to you about Batman.
Batman the Animated Series is my all-time favorite intro of all time. I could write an essay on how fucking great that intro is.
What about Gargoyles?
Gargoyles is also amazing, but not as good as Batman. And I'll tell you
fuck
why.
Yeah, Gargoyles. Holy
Gargoyles
shit.
is great.
I'll tell you why Batman is better. Gargoyles is amazing. I love that. But Batman is better because it doesn't even fucking show you the name of the goddamn show.
No.
It doesn't show you. You just know it's fucking
It's
Batman,
Batman.
because it's Danny Elfman's
He's the
theme
goddamn
song,
Batman.
and it's just fucking Batman, and he just beats the shit out of criminals to Danny Elfman's music. Danny Elfman, of course, also did The Simpsons. Like,
Yeah.
everything he touches
That's-
is gold.
And
like
that's just
every-
monumental. right?
Everyone knows everyone knows the theme for The Simpsons.
What's cool about the Simpsons intro is how each one is different. Not
The
even
couch
just
gag.
not
Couch
even
gags.
just the couch gags, but Bart's writing on the chalkboard.
Yeah, true.
You'll see random characters on the street, and for their specials they have completely different.
Futurama does
styles.
that too. Well, Matt Groening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
must just be a Matt Groening thing. But yeah, you don't see a lot of intros that do that.
It makes it interesting to watch every episode, even the intro, which you normally would just, like, zone out for and not pay attention to.
Or get up to go get something to eat.
Exactly, but you're like, oh, I wonder what Bart's going to write on the chalkboard. Oh, I wonder what they're going to have written at the end of the tunnel.
And that's pretty much the only thing keeping people watching Simpsons
And guess
The couch gags?
animators.
Honestly, the couch gags are the best
super
part of
good.
the episodes.
Like they get amazing guest artists.
I like
to
Rick
do.
and Morty one,
Yeah.
and the 80s one, and the Del Toro.
Yeah,
The only
Guillermo del Toro
Simpsons
one.
I've watched in the
Treehouse of
last few
Horror one,
years
yeah.
has been the intros, just YouTube clips of the
Of the intros, because some of them are really, really good.
Yeah,
They
They
put
have-
more effort into
They
that.
have more like it. Is it just the couch gags? There's a show after that.
I hope they ended it.
just half an hour of couch gags.
Like catchy fucking themes. The Office.
Yeah,
Dun-dun-dun,
Yeah.
dun-dun-dun-dun. Also, but that happens to be attached to a great show, so that's super
That's
helpful.
also true.
definitely.
Back when I was a kid, I used to love like spooky shows and shit like that. Goosebumps was always fun, right?
Yeah.
The
you guys-
dog and woof 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 woof. You're like, what?
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that whole like do. Yeah,
It was creepy, though.
It was groovy.
And then their outro was just like the green ooze coming
The
down
monster
very
blood.
slowly.
Yeah. I'll tell you the fucking opening to a children's horror TV
That
show
scared you
that scared the shit out of me every
Everyone.
time. Are
Even
You
now
Afraid of the
it's-
Dark?
Yeah.
Like it's literally like who made that theme and was like, yeah, that's for kids.
The theme is scary, and then like the images are like the scariest things imaginable
Yeah,
in a
it's
row.
cool, though.
And then the
Looking
show
back.
itself isn't spooky. None of the episodes are
like,
scary.
When you watch the Goosebumps opening, you're like, oh, it's a kid's show.
Woof, 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 woof.
That was good though. I just remember.
That was good.
I
like
remember
that.
watching those.
I like that.
When the intro came on, you just like curl up in a ball under a blanket, and you're just like, here we go. Even though the episode wasn't as scary,
No one did
it
that.
just kind of sets. The
Are you
tone,
afraid
right?
of the dark? Yes.
Oh,
Goosebumps? No.
I don't know. As a kid, even.
Did you watch Are You Afraid of the Dark as a kid and not pee yourself a lot when the intro came on?
Like, the first episode of that entire season is just
So,
a
yeah.
scary smoking clown that kills people.
Yeah.
It's all on Netflix though, I think.
I think I should
Which-
rewatch a few of them.
No, don't watch them. Just watch the intro. It's spooky shit.
Okay, speaking of spooky TV shows and openings and why we keep going...
Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah,
yeah,
Actually,
no.
great. I love. Speaking of which, offside. I love Tales from the Crypt, the animated show.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's great.
Yeah, American Horror Story. The first season had a really good one. Like,
It's an eerie intro. Like,
It's
Yeah.
creepy
I
imagery.
remember, was season 2 equally creepy?
Season 2 we stopped watching because we got bored. And it
Oh
went
god.
nowhere.
Yeah,
Well,
I
no,
haven't seen
I
any of
think,
the others.
and I've had a conversation about it, and it's because we chain watched American Horror Story,
And that was
season
good.
1, so we like constantly watched it, but we had that break in between of thinking about those episodes, and also the editing just fucking gave us headaches.
It was really different and not good. Yeah, not very catchy, except for, but definitely the imagery on top of like how spontaneous like the loud noises are.
And the way they do the cuts. It's
Yeah.
all very fast-paced cutting.
and
That's
it's just
weird.
like, creepy imagery.
It works really well.
Speaking of creepy imagery, Metalocalypse.
Death clock, death clock.
Yeah, I came in today and you guys were watching that. Johnny...
I'm just watching it for the first time
Yeah.
through. It's an amazing show. I used to watch it on Teletoon, like when they had it aired on there.
Did
Yeah.
you watch it?
But yeah, it would come on, and at the time, I was kind of put off by the metal music, certainly from the intro. I didn't like metal at all. Like, it was something that had to really grow on me over time, and now metal is like the only music I listen to on my own.
Because it's gooder. Not as good as country, but it's pretty gooder.
Oh,
But I
man.
feel like it was
my
pretty-
blue jeans and my truck.
I feel like it was
I'm a
pretty
beer.
gradual the way that I started to get into heavier music, because
I think it was pretty gradual for me.
it
too.
started with a lot of rock bands and like some bands that would do screaming, like Alexis on Fire was the first band that had screaming that I got into. But a lot of those bands that are a little bit milder and kind of more accessible, I guess. A lot of what I heard was initially on Much Music, and some of the heavier bands I heard on there got me into heavier music, so Billy Talent and Rise Against, a lot of bands like that.
How about you, Sheldon?
Stuff like System of a Down,
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold, AFI,
Yeah,
that
oh, yeah.
kind of stuff. One of my first was like Thrice and The Used. Some Silverstein. Silverstein.
Oh, yeah,
a lot.
Silverstein.
That sort of, and then it gradually became stuff like Misery Signals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it went heavier and heavier, and now I think I'm at a comfortable point in doom metal, where it's just the slowest, sludgiest, stupidest, fucking ridiculous, brutal bullshit ever.
I definitely think what got me to what I'm listening to now is definitely always been the connection I've had with people. Like I got introduced by System of a Down by my cousin, because he was just listening to it in his room when I came to visit him in Quebec.
No one would listen to System of a Down on their own and think, "Wow, this is really
Yeah.
good," because
You need like a friend to be like, listen to this shit.
Like, actually listen
listen.
to the lyrics
Yeah.
and the music.
Like I had friends who liked Offspring, and I checked them out, and like the song "I Want You Bad," where they talk about like wanting like a girl who's tattooed and stuff like that. I think that like pretty much shaped my like music taste and also my
Taste in
taste in
women.
women.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Weird. How that
Um,
worked.
Linkin Park was one of
Linkin
my
Park for sure.
favorite bands that started to get me into heavier music because Chester Bennington did some screaming, but it was always typically for short periods of time, where you would just have like one screaming part in the song.
In the bridge.
I
Yeah.
definitely.
Like first I would hear that and I'd be like, oh, I don't really like that part as much, but that you gradually get used to it and then it starts to become more appealing, right?
I definitely remember feeling off and like edgy when he was like, "Shut up!
When I'm talking to you,
Dude,
shut
One
up."
step closer.
And that was like playing on the radio, and I was like, yeah, and like Papa Roach was around that time. With My Last Resort. Alexis on Fire came out with I think it was Pulmonary Archery.
Archery, yeah.
Yeah.
And that started playing on the radio, and it was playing a lot on Much Music, and that was the first kind of mainstream screaming, other than like Linkin Park.
Yeah, I think Disturbed was another band I listened to early on, as well as Metallica. I think a lot of bands that have lyrics you can understand are ones that are more accessible, right?
And then when you find friends who listen to that type of music,
And you spread it around, you figure out
you
more
start
stuff.
spreading it around.
That makes
you
a big
test out
difference for
little bit
sure.
More like Misery Signals is like one of my favorite bands now, but like back when we started first hanging out, Sheldon, like you introduced me to Misery Signals, and you're like, check this band out, and I was like, meh.
Yeah.
And then like,
right?
and then like a little bit later, I was like,
Oh, it's
I
a
like
catchy
listened to
song.
Controller, and I was like, holy shit! Like like the bands that like I'm guessing all of us love now kind of like grew on us.
Yeah, and same thing with me. You guys showed me Misery Signals, and at first I was like, okay, it sounds alright, but then you take the time to listen to it on your own, and then you realize this is really good.
I think that's inherently the part of music that makes it the most valuable. Unless it's some shitty, catchy pop song that's designed to be like instantly recognizable, if it's actually like technical or musically inclined in any sort of way,
You have to give it a few
you have
listens.
to listen to it a few times. It has to
Yeah.
grow on you. For me, I'll listen to an album fully through, and if something I like will pop out to me, there'll be a chorus or there'll be a line. I'll be like, yeah, that was sick.
Or one whole song.
And then I'll listen to that song over and over, and then it'll start listening to the next song after, and I'll start liking that because it like bleeds on,
Yeah.
and then I just listen to the whole album, and then
I remember going through those phases for August Burns Red when I first started listening to Constellations, because I think Mariana's Trench stood out right away for me in Meridian,
whitewashed.
and then like I started picking up on other songs, and it was like, oh, this one's really good, and I would have a new favorite every like week.
What did you start with Constellations with August Burns Red?
I didn't hear all of Messengers, but I think
okay.
around that time I heard Composure and
I think
a few of the singles, right?
I think the first song I ever heard from them was Blinding Light, and I think it was because my friend in high school was like, listen to this fucking breakdown, and I was like,
Okay.
I've never heard a breakdown
What is
like
a
this
breakdown?
before. Like what the? I knew what a breakdown was, but like not ABR breakdown.
I remember my first breakdown. It was great. It was the used sound effects and over dramatics.
I'm trying to think of what that.
It's actually like a kind of a heavy song. It's got a kind of a heavy beat, and then he like sings like a pussy for a bit, and then it's got smile, cut it out for me this time, and it actually gets like really heavy.
Didn't they have to
dual-
beat up?
For their album before that, the special edition comes with the DVD where they beat the vocalist with a frying pan to get him to scream one of the songs because he couldn't scream.
Yeah.
Because this is before screaming was really, really mainstream, and people didn't know how to do it properly, so they literally put him in enough pain so he could just scream.
I think that's what's most off-putting about a lot of metal music too, is the screaming, not necessarily the instruments, or at least the combination of the two. Because we saw heavy music back before with just classic glam rock and that sort of metal,
Rock and suck a cock.
some old like metal and stuff like that.
Pantera was glam rock.
It was a lot more,
It became what they played.
It was a lot more mainstream or widespread because it had cleaner vocals. So you would have the fangirls who would fall in love with the singers, that sort of thing, and that just doesn't happen in the same way now.
Well, I think like the one thing that a lot of people don't understand about screaming, is that it's an instrument itself.
It's just like singing.
Yeah,
It's a vocal style, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, just like singing, but like singing clean, you hear the lyrics, and there's something rewarding about being able to listen to bands that scream, and then at first you're like, what the fuck are they saying?
Oh yeah.
But after like actually like
Looking up the lyrics,
it tunes your ear to like listen closer to the music, so you pick up on like little subtleties that the guitarists do and drums, and then you start picking up what they're saying lyrically because you're like
Paying attention.
You're paying attention to the music. You're like actually paying attention to what they're playing.
And that goes back to when we were talking about repeated listenings, because at first, the first time you listen to it, it's just a bunch of different things. It's kind of hard to process it. You kind of try to process it all at once, and then afterwards you get to listen for the nuances and listen to each individual instrument or just the vocals. You can focus on different parts, and that adds a lot to the likability of the music.
And may I just add a quick review? We were talking about Tesseract and its Gent for their new album, Polaris. I was listening to Altered State today, and I kind of thought about it a lot more. The reason why I like Altered State a little bit more than I like Polaris, even though Polaris has better moments than Altered State, I think Altered State is ultimately a better album, is because the Gent in Polaris, after listening to it, it's pretty much
basic Gent.
It's like everyone's doing exactly the same thing for a certain amount of bars, right? Altered State is kind of like that, where they go into those Gent moments and they're long, like Polaris, but they change up different things here and there.
Well, that makes it less repetitive.
Yeah,
right?
So like the bassist will like play high at one point and then play low at another, and then the drummer will completely change the drumming, and like it's just like tiny changes like that I think make the Gent moments on Altered State a lot.
Yeah, if we look at that one song in particular on Polaris, I don't remember the name.
Dystopia, the first song?
Is that the one that's...
Yeah, that's definitely that one.
But yeah, nothing else is happening with the other instruments. The drums are doing the same thing,
it's
and then the
all
guitars are doing
exactly the same. So there's no like layers to it. In Altered State, there's a song, I think it's song 5 on that album, where one guitar plays this like super slow melody, while the other guitar plays the genty stuff, and the bass also plays the genty stuff, and then the drum kind of finds a mix in between.
But at least it's harmonizing.
Yeah. So like, but I would have never like. It's things like that I pick up now that I don't think I would have ever picked up had I not listened to this genre of music, because this genre of music allows me to very like deeply listen to what's being played.
But it makes you a little bit more critical, I think, of some mainstream music.
And the 4 chords that they only play.
Yeah, I think when you start to notice more of those technicalities, you have trouble liking some of the more basic songs that come out.
And there's some new songs like top 40 stuff that come out and they're actually really good, and like I'll appreciate them. Like I might not like the song, but I'll appreciate the craftsmanship of it because it's slightly different.
More often it's the reverse for me, where I like it, but I don't want to like it because I can't appreciate it because I know it's just catchy dribble and it was made to sound catchy.
And okay, this might sound stupid. My guilty pleasure is Drake.
That does sound stupid.
Yeah,
it's strange.
And I think the biggest reason why I like Drake so much is because his beat maker actually adds subtleties to that, like subtle changes and stuff like that. There's one song in particular from my favorite album of his, where for the first half of the song, the beat's like playing in normal order, and then at a turning point, it immediately goes in reverse of what you heard before, and it's like tiny little things like that like make it pretty cool, and that's why I appreciate Drake's beat maker. I don't really appreciate Drake that much.
Understandable.
Come on,
Well, and everybody has their guilty pleasure music too, right? Like
he likes NSYNC.
I used to
didn't want to
like no fuck NSYNC.
You fap to NSYNC all the time.
That's all I hear is bye bye
It's literally you talking to your like thousands of soldiers you're killing
It's
off.
gonna be.
God, can I make my goddamn point here?
Nope.
Okay, go.
No, let's just throw in some more NSYNC fap jokes.
Get to the point.
My guilty pleasures, I always liked Paramore, and I used to listen to Lights a lot. And
Yeah, but Lights and Paramore, they're pretty good songwriters.
And,
Yeah,
well,
they're
that's
good.
the thing.
They've got good songs.
And then Kesha's probably my guiltiest
that is
pleasure
pretty
because
Oh, that is super guilty.
I know, right? I know. I'm not proud of it, but I can't help but find a lot of it so catchy, and I know that's what it's
Well,
meant
Katy
to
Perry
be.
for me is like
Boobs.
It's the
She's got good vocals, but
Sia.
It's the way it's
how
the way her
catchy.
music
Yeah,
is produced.
Sia for me.
Sia is great. Holy shit.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
really
Sia
good.
is very good, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like artists like that stand out. And once in a while, out of the top 40s, you'll get artists like
That are
Sia,
good.
and you're like, holy shit, these guys are actually like back when. Actually, I don't know. I never liked Lord.
Yeah,
No,
that song I found.
I didn't really understand the appeal.
We could be royals.
Royals. You can be.
No, I didn't like that. But like, I kind of caught why people liked it. No, I don't. It was
It
stupid.
was
I
a
never
catchy
understand.
song, I think, in the chorus, and people want flashy choruses.
Lord.
What about-
Lord?
What about stuff like Cool Kids? That you guys know that song? No,
No,
that's some popular song. I don't even know their band, but it has a female vocalist.
Justin Timberlake. Love Justin Timberlake. His stuff is fucking
Sexy
great.
Back?
No, that song was sort of like a gimmicky, like over the top.
Yeah.
But he's got some
He
like
had a few other
really
good ones,
good
for sure.
songs.
JT's actually pretty damn talented.
Like
And okay, I will say this: Taylor Swift being somebody who
prior
writes.
to her,
Well, no, I like her new stuff.
you like her pop stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty. Out of all of the fucking pop stuff that has come out, like, and I think, you're gonna judge me so fucking hard.
Already judging.
Yeah.
Judgment's goggles.
After Justin Bieber kind of started hanging out with the like EDM crowd and like getting like good, like hanging out with like good beat makers, I can appreciate some of his music,
I haven't listened to
but
it.
it's more his newer stuff now is a lot more just like general EDM-y type stuff rather
I
than
haven't
like
heard any of
the
that.
baby shit that he used to come out with.
I never listened to Bieber, and I understand that people really like it, but I also understand that the music wasn't written for me. So
Yeah.
it's not for me. I'm
Yeah.
not going to judge it.
I don't
If people
understand.
enjoy it, that's fine.
I don't understand why there was such a big lash at Justin Bieber in particular, because he wasn't the first to be
It's
like
because
that.
he's popular. It's the same thing that happened to Nickelback.
But Jesse McCartney was
you
basically
can argue,
Justin Bieber.
You can argue against that, but Nickelback, when you think about it, puts out kind of like bleh music, but and everyone hates it. Everyone hates on it for being mediocre and terrible, but they still top charts.
Johnny,
They still make more money than all of us in this house combined times 10.
Oh well, I don't
you
like
look
to think
terrible
about that.
with something in your mouth.
Huh?
Like my cat. It's a Nickelback song. They make one song and it's an okay song
Well,
sometimes.
except for their Poppy song that they just released.
Oh, the like disco one.
Yeah.
I think-
Which is funny because Finger 11 did the exact same thing with Paralyzed.
That was a good song.
It's a good song. But if you actually listen to the lyrics, they're fucking laughing at that scene.
Oh yeah, of
Like,
course.
Yeah.
I actually liked Old Finger 11. I stopped listening to them.
Old Finger 11. Oh,
Like Finger 11 self-title, Grace to the Blue Skies, Tip. I liked. I don't know what happened after that. I didn't follow them much.
I didn't hear much other than when they had Paralyzer, and there was like one or two other songs that were hits at the time.
Yeah.
I think I had
And I'll throw this because I've been thinking about it for a while. Like bands like Blink-182 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How like we went from a point where we loved them so much to like we don't like their music anymore. And I think what it was, and this might just be, this is just me like spitballing here, but I think back when we were listening to Blink-182, it was like we were young, and it was fun, it was catchy, kind of
And
like
edgy.
pop songs like we were listening to now, or like people listen to now in the top 40s. we were kind of in that like early stage of music, liking like, oh, this is fun, let's enjoy ourselves. But when that band started taking themselves a little bit more seriously and tried writing more serious material, I think we had grown enough throughout the years to be more critical about the music,
Yeah,
and that's where we go. Like
It's
that's
not-
why
it
we
doesn't
love
matter.
the older stuff a lot more because we were. It's that nostalgia factor. But
When
like
did-
now that they started approaching it,
When did Stay Together for the Kids come out? Was that older or newer?
that was Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and that was still a serious. Oh, that
That
was
was-
still a silly album.
Silly album, but that was a serious fucking song.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I like
Offsprings came out with Kids Aren't Alright.
Kids Aren't Alright. That's a great song. That's probably my favorite song from them.
Yeah,
It's
I
fucking dark.
didn't really used to listen to
That
them.
was
I
one of
liked a few of their bigger hits for sure, and it probably is different now compared to then. Like when I was a teenager, Sum 41 I listened to more of,
Choco was awesome.
and I
Yeah.
still like Sum 41. Basically all of their music actually.
And, like re-listen to Blink-182. Like I do really like their more serious stuff. Like later on, like there were some really good songs off of that. Like they definitely were good musicians. There's some bad songs off of those.
Not
but,
every song you write's gonna be a hit when you pop out, like Beatles. And
when
music.
when you're writing stuff just to like
Sell. When you're popular, you want to sell out. You know your albums are gonna sell. You don't have to write good stuff.
Yeah.
You know it's gonna sell.
Yeah. Once in a while though, some good
Get
stuff.
some good stuff. Yeah, you do have genuine inspiration. They're not bad musicians. They're
No.
talented.
Foo Fighters I think was always good. Same with like Red Hot Chili Peppers.
But did Foo Fighters carry like their own name, or was it the fact that it was Dave Grohl?
I think they
leading
had a
the
lot of
band?
trouble
Like,
identifying as their own thing, other than just Dave Grohl's new band.
Yeah, but now I think Foo Fighters.
Now Foo Fighters.
Oh,
are
yeah,
Foo
it's
Fighters.
definitely
Like,
its
they've
own
definitely
thing.
put their own
But
staples.
Dave
on.
Grohl
Yeah.
is a hero. He like
Dave Grohl's
breaks
the
his
greatest.
leg, just goes on stage, cast and all. does
I
a
would
hands
love
up.
to just hang out with Dave Grohl.
Seems like
he seems
super
like a
cool.
really cool guy.
There was that one song Foo Fighters came out with. I can't remember. It was like a long time ago, but it was like heavier. It was their heaviest song. That,
Beelzebub with you in it from your band Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause-
fuck you.
He's the devil.
No. Foo Fighters came out with. They came out with this one single, and it was playing on the radio all the time, and that was like really hard hitting. And I remember that also kind of getting me into this, like helping me push into the heavier music. I don't know. It's like those like subtle bends, like those intro bands, and it's like super baby steps to get to where.
No
Was
one
it-
starts off liking metal.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can just go like, man, yeah, Cannibal Corpse. That's great. That's what I want.
I remember listening to Norma Jean for the first time and thinking they were fucking awful.
and I still do.
I remember listening to Between the Buried and Me for the first time when my friends bought me The Great Misdirect, and I was like, what is this noise? It's just noise.
Oh, I fucking loved Colors from the moment I
and
heard
just a complete change around where it's just like, now it's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's crazy.
But you have to put in that effort. You can't just glide on by.
Definitely. And I think, unfortunately, there are maybe some bands or albums that I didn't give a fair enough chance. I only gave it that surface listen, and I didn't look for anything deeper. But that's why I try to go back and find some more music.
I mean, I'm starting to see a little bit of a shift in my musical tastes again. Just like, it's constantly fucking changing.
Yeah, you have to be
Yeah.
open to new music.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But
I remember the time where I was just like super into dubstep.
Yeah. Who
And then
wasn't?
I was like super into folk music, and now it's like melodic hardcore.
It's always good to be open and evolving. I like, every once in a while though, I like to throw in some Silverstein. I like to throw in some Sum 41.
Yeah.
I like to throw in something that, I remember this is great. I had a blast listening to this and just having that nostalgia trip, and you're like, this was great. I don't think I would listen to it now. Like, if I were to just hear something like this, I'd be
Yeah,
like, no.
Other than like nostalgia factor.
That just happened to me with Rise Against the Sufferer and the Witness, because that was the first hard copy album that I had that wasn't like a Pokemon soundtrack.
my
But
first hard
yeah, I
copy.
just re-listened to it, and it's a solid album, but as soon as it was done, I took it out of my CD player and put back in one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It was solid. It's good to go back and listen to those. But you got to wonder how much nostalgia is a factor. in
Like I
What
brought
our old tastes
MCR
were.
into my car.
Which MCR?
It 3 Cheers for Revenge.
That album is great, and I will defend that forever.
Yeah,
It's an amazing
It's
album.
a pretty fucking great album.
What would you have done if you said Black Parade?
I guess
Punch in
My
the Face.
Chemical Romance
Break
was
his
also
kneecaps.
an intro to
Absolutely, yeah. I was thinking about adding it, like, sort of like mentioning it, but
and Thrice, yeah.
Thrice
and
for me, Artist in the
Circus
Ambulance.
Survive too for that more ambient.
Seosin,
Yeah.
some of their,
Yeah.
with Anthony.
Well, all I can say now is that I'm glad that the bands I've listened to have led me down the path that I'm at now.
And I can still appreciate those old guys.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I used to really love.
I think it's important while we have our own personal selections, like you said, to stay open-minded with our music taste, because you can always acquire something from every genre.
But
even
fuck country.
Even country.
Hey,
Some countries.
Some
Zach
country's
Brown
pretty
band is the shit. I love ZBB.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And older country, Johnny Cash.
like, and
The hip hops.
somebody had coined the term Walmart country, as in like the super
The poppy.
easy sellout
Yeah.
country. But there are some country that, definitely.
There's
There's some anything, any
Probably
genre.
hard. really good.
Probably hard
That
to
is
stand
really
out
good.
as a country artist without being labeled as another country band or
I
musician.
think that you can't stand out if you're a country artist, because if you stand out from the group, if you're not putting out
You're
songs,
no longer country.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're not putting out songs about your pickup truck, the chicken tight jeans, and the beer you're drinking on a Friday night, no one's gonna listen to you because you're no longer shallow, and people want shallow, easy music.
It is
that
a
they
pretty
can go
specific
to a bar and listen to.
demographic, right?
Yeah. The struggle of the artist.
And the
Sell
ambulance.
out.
To
Or not.
sell out or to be true to their-
Although that does sound like a really good topic. Bands that we love that sold out that we just
Yeah.
Oh,
do that
we
sometime.
could probably
We
have
can- we have
a
some
whole
few.
topic on that.
awesome. Well,
That'd
but
be for sure.
I guess that's it for today.
that's it we today. Try again, Mark.
Give it another go, buddy.
Well, that's all we have for today, folks.
Da, 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 da.
Da-da-da-da-da. Thanks for listening.
Check us out on Facebook, our website. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And check us out on iTunes.
We'll be uploading every Monday.
Join us next week for another podcast.
And until next time,
We're
going nowhere.
It's so stupid.
I'm Johnny.
No, you're you.
This is
You do
Johnny.
that.
Johnny, what are you doing? Stop that.
Are you fapping right now?
He's done.
That's where we're going with
I
that.
think he's gonna have a nap now. He's all tuckered.